Names defined the games in Norway. Nancy and Tonya. Harding has always denied that she was involved at all in that pre-Olympic attack on rival Kerrigan, but as CBS News correspondent Harry Smith reports, plenty of people still question that denial. Among them, the men who actually carried out the attack.
You may be surprised to learn that the idea to injure Nancy Kerrigan had its roots in Japan. Tonya Harding was competing in a major international event here and did not skate well. She finished fourth. It was early December and only a month before the U.S. Nationals, where two people would qualify for the Olympics. Fourth-place finishers would stay home. Back in Portland, Harding complained to live-in ex-husband Jeff Gillooly. She wasn't the darling of the skating community like Nancy Kerrigan, who would be a shoo-in. But what if Kerrigan didn't make the team? Gillooly started scheming with his childhood buddy, Sean Eckhart.
So the plot is hatched, and what was the plot?
To go to South Dennis, Massachusetts, I believe, and break Nancy Kerrigan's right femur as she was coming out of her practice skating session.
Eckhart found two accomplices who agreed to attack Kerrigan for a fee. A meeting was held to finalize the details. Shane Stant was the hired hitman.
They wanted her not to skate at the Nationals because if she didn't skate at the Nationals or win or get second, then she wouldn't go to the Olympics.
Eckhart said Harding was involved from the start.
She called the Tony Kennedy Arena in South Dennis, Massachusetts on a variety of occasions to determine Nancy Kerrigan's skating schedule there.
Yeah. So she knew.
Yes.
Was she obsessed with it?
In her mind, I feel she believed that Nancy Kerrigan was the only obstacle in her path to getting what she wanted.
Which was?
Going to the Olympics and winning a gold medal and getting those $10 million in endorsements.
It was here on Cape Cod that the attack was supposed to take place. But when Shane Stant arrived, he realized he had his girlfriend's credit card. He wasted a day waiting for his to come. Meanwhile, Nancy Kerrigan was finishing her final practice. Shane Stant was clueless. Sitting outside in the parking lot, he'd move his car every 15 to 20 minutes, hoping to avoid suspicion. After 2 days and no sign of Kerrigan, Stant finally came inside and learned that Kerrigan hadn't been around. The next day, he called here, pretending he had a daughter who wanted to see Nancy skate. That's when he learned Nancy was long gone. Almost broke, Stant headed for the bus station and got a ticket on a Greyhound to Detroit. That's where the U.S. Nationals were. Not the smartest place for an attack, but...
You have to realize there were four idiots.
There was 4 idiots together, me included.
Who were constantly fighting with each other.
Stupid people leading stupid people.
There was no concerted effort. There was no agreement.
It was lame.
And did you ever really think this nightmare was going to come true?
No.
But Stant was determined to finish what he was paid to do.
And I knew that the competition was that night. And I knew that if there was a considerable bruise on her leg, that she wouldn't be able to compete.
Stant decided the best time to approach Kerrigan would be right after her afternoon practice here at Cobo Arena. Stant was joined in Detroit by Derek Smith, his uncle. Smith would be the driver of the getaway car.
I was sitting in the stands. I walked down and I walked through the blue curtains and I hit her on the right leg above the knee.
I don't know, some hard black stick. Something really, really hard.
I didn't see her face. She was facing the other way.
Help me.
But I did hear her cry out, and that's something that doesn't go away.
I can't imagine somebody deliberately setting out to hurt somebody else. It doesn't make sense to me for any reason, but a sport, it's not life or death or anything. I don't understand it, no.
Stant's escape route at the back of the arena was blocked. He got to these doors and they were chained together, so he had to ram himself head first through the bottom of the doors. Now his uncle was parked back that way. Stant started to run this way. He threw the retractable baton under a parked car. No one gave chase, and eventually his uncle caught up with him.
In Detroit today, someone attacked a U.S. Olympic figure skater just weeks
No one was
before
more
the
surprised
1994
about the news than Patty Cook, who'd been hearing about it from Sean Eckert's dad, Ron.
I'd heard so much, all these things about Sean that were not true, and so why should I believe this? But Ron kept an ongoing saga of what was going on.
Frightened, Cook called Detroit and told Deputy Chief of Police Benny Napoleon. She said she knew who attacked Nancy Kerrigan.
There's no question that this telephone call got us on the right track early to start looking at the people who were responsible.
As Napoleon was busy looking at Harding's associates, she was busy doing what she set out to do. She clinched her second national title and that coveted spot on the Olympic team. An injured Kerrigan was given the remaining berth. By the time Harding returned home, the police were closing in fast with some extra help in their investigation.
Most crooks aren't crooks because they're real smart.
Sean started to panic, and he started to tell people.
Then once it had occurred, why he could just barely contain himself.
Norm Frink was the prosecuting attorney who joined the case when it moved to the Portland courts.
How would you describe this band?
Well, it was sort of like, like the gang that couldn't shoot straight.
That gang went down fast. Eckhart first, followed by Derek Smith, and then Shane Stant. Harding gave up Gillooly. Before he caved in, pointing the finger right back at his ex-wife.
Did he say she was involved?
Oh, yeah. And there was no question in our mind that she had prior knowledge and was actively involved in the conspiracy.
And she sure didn't say, stop this.
Oh, no way.
Frink believed Gillooly, but he needed something more. There was little hard evidence to connect Tonya Harding to the attack on Nancy Kerrigan until Super Bowl Sunday, when the woman who owns this Portland restaurant came out back to take out the garbage. Now, when she lifted the lid on the dumpster, she saw that much of what was inside wasn't hers. She was angry. She rifled through the bags, looking for names and addresses. She soon realized the trash belonged to Jeff Gillooly and Tonya Harding. You saw this stuff. What went through your mind?
I was real concerned because knowing that all of this was going on, I felt that I really had something important, and I called the FBI immediately.
The note she found would be as close to the smoking gun as Frink would get.
Critical was this piece of paper that had Tonya Harding's handwriting on it, and it had notations about phone numbers and practice times.
These are Nancy Kerrigan's practice times at this rink where she practiced.
Yeah, what I distinctly remember being on there was the number of the rink.
She went through the garbage and she found pieces of paper with notes in your handwriting.
No, it wasn't.
That said,
It wasn't my handwriting.
the name of the arena.
It wasn't my handwriting.
Frink brought in a professional handwriting expert who was certain it was. Not only that, somebody at Tonya Harding's house called Nancy's rink.
Anybody could have made the call.
Anybody could have made the calls. But we had that number, and we had things about the practice times in her handwriting.
Come on, would I call up Nancy Kerrigan's hometown rink and ask them when she practices?
I don't know.
How would I know where she even skates? Not to have
But
the
authorities
opportunity
never had the chance to confront Harding with the evidence found after her first interview. She holds firm to her original
Nancy
statement
Kerrigan.
that she knew nothing of the attack before it happened.
I am responsible, however, for failing to report things I learned about the assault when I returned home from nationals.
Look me in the eye and tell me that you didn't know that your ex-husband and his friends were planning to attack Nancy Kerrigan.
I swear on everything holy, may God strike me down. I did not know until 3 days after we got back from nationals. And then I was frightened for my life. That is why I didn't tell the authorities what I had found out. From my heart, if I would have known, I would have done anything I could have to stop it. Anything.
A lot of people don't believe that.
I know that. I know that.